Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in my quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and this is the show where we talk about those things that we love. Movies and movie news, TV and streaming, all the stuff that gives us joy, the things that make us happy when we talk about them. That's what we're here to discuss today. I'm joined in studio today by our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
Good morning, everybody.
And it's just us. Rob's having car trouble today, so Rob's not in joining us today. Don't worry, he'll be back. But it's going to be us and you guys. Of course, most importantly, you guys are here joining us today. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out to join us. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show is where we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you guys have a thought, theory, opinion, question, observation, or theory that you'd like us to address, go ahead and fire it on into our super chats using the live chat feature. Now, that means you have to be watching the show live in order to send it in. I already see a bunch of people are sending some in now. So just send them in, and as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, we'll answer it in the second part of the show. All right. You know, guys, I hope you all had an awesome weekend. I had a great weekend.
Yeah.
Had a great weekend. You know why, Jonathan?
Why?
Because I did something I've been meaning to do for a while. I went to the Academy Museum, which I'd never done.
I've been meaning to do for a while too.
And I'm so glad I did. So, for example, take a look at this picture. You guys remember Soul, Johnny Green. He was the CFO of the Fine Brothers, the Kids React channel. He's one of the founders and was the CFO there.
My one-time boss.
And that's right. You worked for him for a while.
For a little bit.
And now he's over at Roku. Anyway, he's one of my very first friends I ever made in LA. And he's one of my best friends. And he started dating this wonderful girl, Jenny, a few years ago. And Jenny, who you can see standing beside Anne there, is the senior curator at the Academy Museum. And one of her newest things is this big Jaws exhibit. So Anne and I have been meaning to go for a while. And I just want to show you guys a couple of really cool things. If you're ever in the LA area, I highly recommend going to check out the Academy Museum. So let me just jump over here. I'll pull up a few pictures here from it that I thought were interesting. First of all, of course, leading into the museum, you had this great, first of all through downtown LA, they're advertising this Jenny's Jaws exhibit all over the place, which is really cool. So then you go in and there's a few things I'll skip over here. This is one of the 3 actual sharks they used for Jaws. They found it in a junkyard, totally refurbished it, redid it all up, and it's hanging there in the museum now, which is pretty awesome.
Bruce, right?
Yep, it's Bruce. And then I just took a picture of this because this is as you go in, there's Jenny's name. Jenny's name is all over the museum, everywhere. But I want to show you just a couple things we saw. This is the actual underwater camera they used to shoot all the underwater scenes.
That's awesome.
But here's something I geeked out about. And there's the actual buoy from the water in Jaws. They actually found it. Jenny found it, brought it in for the exhibit. This one made me geek out. Not only is this the camera and the actual lens that shot Jaws, it's the same camera that George Lucas used to shoot Star Wars.
It's incredible.
And it's like, I'm standing here, like Jenny's explaining all this to me. I'm like, oh, like I'm just losing my mind.
Yeah. And I never knew until today that it was one and the same.
One and the same. I didn't know either. And of course, some really cool, the actual signs they used in the movies. This one was neat. This was actually a sign they put up in the town calling for extras to come and work on Jaws, which I thought was fun. Of course, then they have a big John Williams corner because, of course, he did the music for Jaws. So they had that there, including his original notes. John Williams' notes and score for Jaws, which I thought was incredible. Like, I love staying around history. Then the actual buoys, the actual props that were on the boat.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
The actual chair, the beer can, the fishing rod, all that kind of stuff.
Click, 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 click,
oh.
click, 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 click.
And then some never before seen photos. Like, this is actually Bruce.
Yeah.
And the mechanisms that made Bruce. But let me show you something cool. Like, there's a million things outside of the Jaws exhibit that were really cool. This is when I nearly peed myself. John Dykstra's actual Academy Award for winning the Oscar for Best Visual Effects for Star Wars in 1977. And I'm sitting there in the museum, like I felt like Indy. I wanted to go and I wanted to grab it and put something else in its place.
Except this belongs in a museum.
Yeah, this belongs in a museum. Then this was cool too. The actual original screenplay with the handwritten notes of Quentin Tarantino of Pulp Fiction.
Oh, wow.
The actual script with the actual handwritten notes
Sheesh.
of Pulp Fiction. But listen, and there are a million things. You know what? I'm going to have Jenny come in sometime in the next few months. I'm going to actually have Jenny come in and just talk about curating the Academy Museum. Like, she is the curator of Hollywood history. But I got to show you this one thing, because this one thing is insane.
Yeah.
Julie Garland's actual ruby slippers from the original Wizard of Oz. I'm like, no, these are replicas, right? And she goes, no, that's them. Those are the slippers. I'm like, oh my God. Like, guys, again, highly recommend that if you haven't ever done so, if you find yourself in the LA area, I highly, highly, highly recommend going to check out the Academy Museum. It was amazing. I'm going to go again. I'm going to go many times. Oh, and here's the coolest thing. So Jenny got to work with Steven Spielberg in putting this Jaws exhibit together. They have announced now that the new exhibit coming in 2028, well, Jenny's also working on a Leica exhibit, which she's very excited about doing. I know a lot of people are really into animation. They're going to love her Leica exhibit that they've got coming, I think, in 2027. But in 2028, she's already working on her next huge exhibit, which is a Steven Spielberg exhibit overall.
And look at what they did just for Jaws.
And look at what they did with just Jaws, which was amazing. And she actually gets to work with Spielberg and his people. And oh man, it's just amazing. Again, I'm going to have her come in.
Yeah, we got
sometime just to talk about all this stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I mean, the stories of the curating. I mean, what you just even told me about, like the piano from Casablanca. Like, there's just so many nuances.
So many cool things about it, and I can't wait to have her in.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Anyway, just wanted to share that. Really fun. With that down, guys, let's get things started, and we're going to start off today with a fact check. Maybe we should start a new thing called Fact Check Mondays, because oh my gosh, if you are somebody who peruses the movie sphere online, you probably in the last couple of days came across headlines like this. And I'm not here to pick on MovieWeb. They're not the only ones. But look at this. A new report claims that Netflix is planning devastating theatrical window after Warner Brothers deal. Or some things of this. Now, basically, what's running around, and we had a whole bunch of people writing in and asking about it, and I touched on this in the Q&A last week, but I figured it's still running around, so I figured we should probably do a video about this. You guys have probably been seeing this headline and others like it running rampant through the web, talking about how Netflix, once they get Warner Brothers, is planning on making the theatrical window just 17 days. That's Netflix's plan, to make the theatrical window 17 days. And then people say, well, where did that come from? That sounds like nonsense. Well, it came from Deadline. Well, if it came from Deadline, here's the thing. And guys, I need to elicit your help, my fellow film fans. Please ejaculate some truth sperm into any of the dark corners of the web where you start seeing people running with this thing. Oh my gosh, Netflix is saying there's going to be a 17-day window, theatrical window. That's going to kill the movie business, blah, blah. Okay. So let's take a deep breath and look at this from a big picture. The number one story in all of the movie business right now is the impending sale of Warner Brothers, be it to Netflix, which is the way it looks like it's going to go, or maybe even to Paramount, or who knows, maybe even a third party. But that is the absolute number one story in all of the business right now.
Yeah.
The Zaz, Sarandos, making a deal. Netflix is going to be taking it over and all that kind of stuff. And one of the biggest issues of this impending deal of Warner Brothers being sold to Netflix is what happens with theatrical windows. You guys know that when Netflix's name first came up as a possible suitor for Warner Brothers, I said they would be the worst possible case scenario because they don't have a firm commitment to theatrical windows. Now, in the time since they successfully made their bid to get Warner Brothers, Ted Sarandos has been on, the PR campaign saying, listen, everything I've said about movie theaters was from a perspective of Netflix, because as a business, theatrical windows and putting movies in theaters does not fit Netflix's business. But, Ted Sarandos says, we are now getting into that business because that is Warner Brothers' business. This is a brand new thing for us, and we are doing it, and we're going to keep traditional theatrical windows, all that kind of stuff. Now, here's the thing. If Deadline was reporting that Netflix plans to make a 17-day theatrical window, that would, beyond any shadow of a doubt, be the number one movie story in the world of movies and the movie business for at least a few days. It would be the above the fold, absolute main headline being run on Deadline, Variety, The Wrap, Entertainment Weekly, everything. That would be the story, because everything is about this Netflix takeover of Warner Brothers right now, and everybody in the business is particularly paying attention to what's going to happen with Netflix or with Warner Brothers and their movies and the theatrical winners they're going to have. It would be the story. So where did this thing come from? This spontaneous Mandela effect come from, where everybody is running around, again, like this headline, new report claims Netflix is planning devastating theatrical window after Warner Brothers deal. Where's that all coming from? Because if it's coming from Deadline, surely, and don't call me Shirley, surely it's got to have some big, sexy headline. Deadline exclusively learns of Netflix's plans for a 17-day window.
And why is there no follow-up from like Hollywood Reporter or Variety?
Yeah. You want to see the article where this is coming from? Ready for the big, sexy headline?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Stranger Things finale delivers 25 million plus to movie theaters after New Year's play. More than 60% of that from AMC box office update.
We got
That's
him.
funny.
We
Doesn't say anything about Netflix is planning to do a 17-day theatrical window. No, here's where it is. If you scroll down in the story about Stranger Things and you go down to paragraph 8, line 12, it's this little bit of information buried down near the bottom. Now, let me read this. This is Ted Sarandos speaking. There's been a lot of talk about theatrical distribution, so we want to set the record straight. We, Netflix, are 100% committed to releasing Warner Brothers films in theaters with industry standard windows. Deadline goes on to write, the town continues to worry that traditional means for Netflix. Sources have told Deadline that Netflix have been proponents of a 17-day window, which would steamroll the theatrical business, while circuits such as AMC believe the line needs to be held at 45 days.
I was a proponent of buying a Ferrari. It doesn't mean I'm actually going to go through with it. You know.
And this is the thing. It is past tense. The whole story first sets the context that Netflix is now saying for Warner Brothers films, it's going to be an industry standard theatrical window. Although we have Deadline have heard they have been proponents of 17-day windows, while the movie theater industry wants a 45-day window. That's it. Past tense. If Deadline was actually reporting that they have confirmed sources saying that Netflix plans to take Warner Brothers movies and make them 17-day windows, guess what? The damn headline would not read this. Stranger Things finale delivers 25. That wouldn't be the headline.
No.
And guys, here's the thing. We have seen this happen so many times. Like we've talked about things like this at least 4 or 5 times on our show. I remember this one time Variety was doing an article about something completely different. And then down around paragraph 9, they mention an actor, and then they just happen to throw in there for commentary, oh, the actor can next be seen in whatever movie. And the internet lost its mind saying, wait a minute, that actor's going to be in that movie? Holy shit. And everybody lost their minds. And we pointed out, guys, if the story was this actor was actually joining, this was clearly a little error. This was clearly a small, offhand, little side editorial error. It has nothing to do with the story. And if this was really the case, they would be running headlines about it. And we've seen this happen repeatedly. That some outlet writes something about something completely different, and somewhere in paragraph 12, subsection G, something gets said that somebody interprets a certain way, and they think, and where it would be the biggest news in the movie industry, and they run with it. Guys, let me be very, very clear here. As the person who has screamed the loudest about Netflix being the worst possible option because they're going to ruin theatrical windows and all that kind of stuff, as the person who has been that critical, Deadline did not report that Netflix is planning future 10 to 17-day window Warner Brothers films. Yeah. That is not what their story was. If it was their stories, that would be its own headline. That would be its own story. It would be leading, again, Entertainment Weekly, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter. It would be all over the place, but it's not. It was setting the context that Netflix is committed to industry standard theatrical windows for Warner Brothers films, and then mentioned past tense that Netflix had been an advocate of 17-day theatrical windows when they were just a Netflix business. So please, guys, when you see anybody spreading this false information, let them know that is a minor quote in a story about something completely different that was being taken way out of context. Deadline is not and have not reported that Netflix is planning 17-day windows for Warner Brothers. Please make sure that when you see this pop up elsewhere, you spread the word about that. That is not what's happening here. Because, Jonathan, we see this happen quite often.
Yeah.
Right? Like whether it's from like a small error in an article that people grab onto.
This was mining. This was fracking a story. This was scraping it from the depths of the mine here. I mean, to say, for one thing, the quote was also taken out of context because they said, well, what does industry standard mean? Well, you know what industry standard means. It's the current industry standard, which I believe is like 45 days.
Yeah, that's
which is
the
still
current
too low.
standard, yeah.
Oh, well, what does that mean, actually? Because in the past, they said 17. That was when they were Netflix and they didn't want to own a studio. So now that's taken out of context.
And now, hey, listen, do I have some fear?
Sure,
Do I have some apprehension?
Yes.
That somewhere down the line, Netflix could pull some kind of crap like that? Of course I'm a little bit worried about that. I mean, you'd have to be stupid not to realize that there is a danger in that.
Yeah.
But that isn't what's happening right now. And it just frustrates me when I see false information
it was
getting spread all over the place so quickly.
It was opportunistic, and it was playing off the fears of the public, is what it was.
Yes.
So
anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about that Stranger Things article that revealed Netflix is planning 17-day windows for Warner Brothers? Anyway, guys, please spread the truth around on that. Your thoughts on it, jump down to the comments section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? I have to admit something about the Critics' Choice Awards. They have lost some of their luster to me in recent years. Like, I used to consider the Critics' Choice Awards, like I used to consider it the Oscars and then the Critics' Choice Awards.
Oh, okay.
But, in recent years, they've started doing some really stupid things, like adding categories that are clearly just meant to attract talent to their show and to be populist. And it's like they've lost credibility. They've lost some credibility to me.
They're not the Golden Globes.
They're not the Golden Globes. They're still 100 times more relevant and more legit than the Golden Globes
I still prefer the SAG. Like, the SAG Awards mean more to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like to me, number 1 is the Oscars. Number 2 is SAG. Number 3 is the DGA Awards. And then number 4 for me right now is the Critics' Choice. And then somewhere around 317th is the Golden Globes. That being said, The Critics' Choice Awards did have their big annual awards the other night, and this is one of the first major precursors going into Oscar season. And I think it's given us a little bit of a glimpse of what the really true big hot races are going into the Oscars. So let's take a second here and look at what the results are. The Critics' Choice Award for Best Picture. The nominees were Bergonia, Frankenstein,
Broderick Frankenstein,
Hamnet, Jay Kelly, Marty Supreme, which was terrible, by the way. One Battle After Another, Sentimental Value, Sinners, Train Dreams, and Wicked for Good, which did not deserve to be nominated for Best Picture. At any rate, One Battle After Another wins the award. Now, look, I've been saying going into the Oscars that from my perspective, I really think Best Picture is a two-horse race with a third outside long shot. And I think that two-horse race is One Battle After Another and Sinners. Mm-hmm. Personally, for me, I think Sinners is the best film of the year. I would put One Battle After Another at number 2 for me. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. And then an outside shot, dark horse, third possible contender might be Marty Supreme. So it's interesting in this first round that One Battle After Another takes the Critics' Choice Award for Best Picture, and well-deserved. Again, I would have voted for Sinners, but well-deserved nonetheless. One Battle After Another is an absolutely amazing film. All right. Then we get into the next, what I think is the next biggest race of the Oscars, which is going to be Leonardo DiCaprio versus Timothée Chalamet for Best Actor. And at the Critics' Choice Awards, T. Shams.
He did it.
He did it. He took Best Lead Actor for Marty Supreme. The other nominees were, of course, Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, in which he was insanely good. Joel Edgerton for Train Dreams, Handsome Hawk for Blue Moon, Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, and Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. And again, so Timothée Chalamet takes this. Again, I think this is the race to watch going into the Oscars. Now, unless Timothée Chalamet starts sweeping up everything, like if he wins this, if he wins Golden Globes, if he wins the SAG, well, then the race gets a little less interesting. It's going to kind of become apparent. But I think this is going to be like, what was the name of the actress again from Killers of the Flower Moon? I forget the actress's name, but it's going to come down, it came down back and forth between her and I forget who she was.
Lily Gladstone.
That's right. It was Lily Gladstone from Killers of the Flower Moon, and she was running against Emma Stone, and it was, I think it was
Poor Things, Stone, right?
For Poor Things. Yeah. And I think it went back and forth through the award season. Yeah. Emma would win one or two. Lily would win one or two. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then it got into the Oscars and she won. I think that's what the Best Lead Actor is going to be this year at the Oscars. I think we're going to see Leo taking some awards. I think we're going to see Chalamet take some awards. And then when it comes down to actual Oscar night, I think it's going to be a coin toss.
Right.
I think it's going to be a coin toss. Because listen, I hated Marty Supreme. I think the movie is trash. Straight up, I think it's terrible. I'm the only person in the world that thinks that. Everybody else loves it, and that's fine. Movies are subjective. But even though I hated the movie, oh my God, Timothée Chalamet's performance.
Can't argue with those performances.
Oh my God, next level. Absolutely. He almost redeemed that movie simply from his performance.
Yeah. I mean, much like Leonardo, it's like, I know this should go without saying, but oftentimes you see the actor behind the character. And when you watch someone as famous as Leo and you can just forget that's Leo, that's incredible.
Yeah, he and Chalamet both have that ability, right? The moment both of them pop up on screen, you see Leo DiCaprio and Timothée Chalamet. 5 seconds later, you don't.
No, I mean,
you just see their characters.
I literally thought, oftentimes, I thought he was Bob Dylan. I mean, that's how well he played that role. And
I thought he really was Willy Wonka.
Yeah, well, he is Willy Wonka. Yeah, but I haven't seen Marty yet. I still haven't had time to get to go over there. But
you're not missing anything. All right, let's go down now to the Best Lead Actress, and this one went to Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. Mm-hmm. The other nominees were Rose Byrne, Chase Infinity. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that last name.
You got it, Infinity.
Renée Rensiv from Sentimental Value, Amanda Seyfried from The Testament of Anne Lee, and Emma Stone from Begonia. I have a feeling this one's going to be less interesting. I think it's Jessie Buckley's.
All the way. And you know, the first time I ever saw her was in the season, I want to say it was season 3, maybe 4 of Fargo, was the one with Chris Rock.
Yep. She had like 10 episodes.
She was the nurse.
Yep.
Oh man. And until then, I didn't realize she was Irish. That's how good of it. Like man,
dude,
she's a great actress.
I'm telling you what, man, and this is the movie that made me a believer in Paul Mescal, because I've always thought, I've never had any bad thoughts about Paul Mescal as an actor, but I've always thought he's been a little bit overrated. And then I saw him in this, and he's fab. You know what? He easily could have been nominated for Best Actor too. Mm-hmm. But Jessie Buckley's performance in this, it's been very rare in my life I've seen loss and pain portrayed the way she portrayed it in Hamnet. Well deserving, and I think she's probably going to win the Oscar as well. All right. Then we moved on to Best Supporting Actor. A little bit of a surprise to me. Jacob Elordi wins it for Frankenstein. And he's great in it. He is. I personally think this is hands down should have gone to Sean Penn. I think hands down this should go to Sean Penn. But Benicio del Toro for One Battle After Another. Paul Mescal for Hamnet. Oh, they ran him under Supporting Actor. That's interesting. Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, Adam Sandler for Jay Kelly, and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value, who once again, Stellan Skarsgård completely brings it in that thing. So I would have given this to Sean Penn, but I have no complaints about Jacob Elordi winning for Frankenstein.
Nor do I.
He was wonderful in it. Well done. Again, not my choice, but totally worthy nonetheless. Yeah. And I think that's a really good surprise.
The more I see of Elordi, the more I'm like really a fan of his. And if he were to be named the next James Bond, I'd be okay with that. And I'm really wondering how Wuthering Heights is going to do now with him and why can't I think of her name from Barbie?
Not very well.
But I don't know, man. I think with the female audiences,
they never. I mean, they'll have an audience.
I'm not saying this is going to be like 500, 600 million, but for what it is, I think it's going to do well.
But it's just, again, the movies like a Jane Eyre or Wuthering Heights or things like that, they make their budget back and they
Little
do
Women
okay.
or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Now we went on to Best Supporting Actress, and Amy Madigan did it for Weapons. You know, it's funny. After watching Weapons, I never would have thought of her for awards contention. And then one of my friends brought it up, she could get a Best Supporting Actress. And I was getting ready to say, nah. But then I thought about it, I'm like, actually, she's really good in that movie, man. And I think it's great. Again, a great lineup. By the way, I thought Elle Fanning would probably take it. Yeah. And I would still have my eyes on Elle Fanning from Sentimental Value going into the Oscars. But Amy Madigan for her role in Weapons, again, well-deserved, good win there. Best Young Actor, Actress is a pathetic category that they shouldn't even have. You're either the best actress or actress or you're not. Then we get into an interesting one. Here's another one that's going to be hotly contested, I think, going into the Oscars. Best Director. Like Best Picture, I think it's going to come down to One Battle After Another and Sinners. I think it's going to be between Ryan Coogler and Paul Thomas Anderson. At the Critics' Choice, Thomas Anderson takes it. Paul Thomas Anderson for One Battle After Another. He takes it there.
And the movie. So
it took that and for the movie. Again, the other nominees, Ryan Coogler, Guillermo del Toro, Josh Safdie, Joaquin Tier, and Chloe Zhao for Hamnet.
What do you think in terms of the Oscars? Do you think it's going to be a sweep on Best Picture, Best Director? Or do you think they may split it?
Man.
Because I could end up seeing Sinners getting Best Director, but One Battle getting Best Movie.
I could see any 4 of those combinations.
Yeah.
I could see Sinners, mm-hmm. Sinners, One Battle, One Battle, One Battle, One Battle, Sinners.
Yeah.
I could see any of those combinations. I really can. Both of these movies come down to their direction. They're insanely well directed, both of them. And to me right now, it is a coin toss. It's a coin toss going to the Oscars for Best Picture between One Battle and Sinners, and it's a coin toss for Best Director between Ryan Coogler and Paul Thomas Anderson. And whichever one loses, totally deserved the Oscar. Whichever one wins, totally deserved the Oscar. I'm going to have no complaints.
It's not. We're inevitably going to be getting the snub commentary.
Yeah,
and it's not a snub.
Snub here. No,
it's not a snub.
There's no snub because if you lose to Ryan Coogler directing Sinners, that's not a snub.
No.
At all.
and vice versa,
or vice versa.
Yeah.
Like, so there's no snub here. I mean, they both look, they both did so incredible. It's just one of the reasons why an Oscar is so precious and the most difficult award to win. Like Ryan Coogler, probably 7 out of the last 10 years, if he had done Sinners in 7 of the last 10 years, he wins the Oscar for Best Director. But this year, he might not, because Paul Thomas Anderson did such a great job with One Battle.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So it's going to be interesting to see. All right. Then we get down into the screenplay stuff. And again, I think this is exactly how it's going to play out the Oscars. Ryan Coogler wins Best Original Screenplay. For Sinners, it was against Jay Kelly, Marty Supreme, Weapons, Sorry Baby. I thought Weapons might have had an outside chance,
Yeah.
actually. And then Sentimental Value. And then in adapted screenplay, Paul Thomas Anderson wins for One Battle After Another. Also against Train Dreams, No Other Choice, Frankenstein, Begonia, and Hamnet.
Yeah.
So again, it's Sinners and One Battle After Another's year. One's going to win at the Oscars for Best Original. One's going to win at the Oscars for Best Adapted. This is a new one that's coming up for the Oscars, is Best Casting.
Which, yeah, I'm excited about.
Which is a long time coming.
Yes.
I absolutely think this is 100% a good new category for them to have. So they had it at the Critics' Choice. And Best Casting went to Sinners. Francis Maisler, who was the casting director for Sinners, won. It was up against Hamnet, Jay Kelly, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Wicked for Good. Sinners wins that. And you know what? I have a feeling it's going to win it as well when we come Oscar time. I can't remember. I think this year is the first year they're doing it.
It
might not be till next year. Anyway, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Train Dreams surprisingly won for Best Cinematography.
Beautifully. Just watched it last night.
Okay,
Beautiful.
I would have given it to Claudio Miranda for F1. I mean, the cinematography in F1 is just jaw-droppingly breathtaking. But there you go. So that went to Best Cinematography. Best Production Design went to Frankenstein. No surprise there. No surprise there.
Yeah.
Best Editing went to F1.
There you go. Yeah.
100%.
There you go.
100%.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, the action in F1 is this.
Right.
That's the action. The thrill, the chills come from the editing of it in F1. And it's masterfully done. I don't know that it's a lock for the Oscar, but well done for them to win for Best Editing.
I just wish I could edit out the announcers at the raceway. I hated those.
It was so didactic.
Yeah.
Best Costume Design, no surprise, went to Frankenstein, although Hamnet could have taken it too.
Easily could have taken that.
But Frankenstein, well done. Hair and makeup also went to Frankenstein, no surprise there. Best Visual Effects, again, no surprise, went to Avatar, Fire and Ash. And anyway, I'll skip ahead to a couple. Another interesting one to watch was Best Animation.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave it to K-Pop Demon Hunters for Best Animated Film over Zootopia 2. Now, look, I'm on record. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't actually think K-Pop Demon Hunters is all that good. I'm obsessed with the music. I'm absolutely obsessed with the music, and I love the music in it, which, by the way, Golden won Best Song at the Critics' Choice Award as well. Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters, which is funny because I actually think it's the third best song in the movie. There's another song called This Is What It Sounds Like, which I think is the best song from that movie. And then there's another one called Your Idol, which I think is the second best song. I think Golden isn't even the top 2 best songs of the movie, but it is great. Anyway, it also wins that. So there you have it, guys. The first kind of precursor to our Oscars. Now we got to keep our eyes, see what happens at the DGAs, what happens at SAG, what happens at the Who Cares Golden Globes. But any of these jump out to you, Jonathan, as being like really surprised you? Because to me, I don't know. It just mostly kind of looks like, this is what I'm expecting going into the Oscars.
These are the front runners. Like I said, I'm glad that Train Dreams pulled the cinematography. That's cool. But the front runners, I mean, it's Leo, it's T. Shammy, it's Sinners, and it's One Battle After Another. These 2 movies are going to dominate the headlines going into awards season. I mean,
they're not going to win all the technical ones.
Yeah.
I mean, things like Avatar, Frankenstein,
Yeah.
things that I'll say again, the one big surprise to me was Jacob Elordi.
Yeah.
Which again, well-deserved. I just would have given it to Sean Penn, but Elordi was fantastic in Frankenstein.
I might see a weapons with supporting actress Dark Horse.
Yeah. I mean, she already won.
Yeah.
Here, so I mean, we'll see going in there. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about these results from the Critics' Choice Awards? Are you upset at any of them, or was there an obvious snub to you? Was somebody win that didn't deserve to win? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, I remember when Avatar 2 was about to come out, and you got all the comments. Avatar has no pop cultural footprint.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares about Avatar anymore. Hell, even I thought it was going to suffer a bit from the fact that it took so long to get the sequel.
Yeah.
Like, even me. And, oh, this one's going to flop. This one's going to flop. Well, what happened? Movie came out, made over $2 billion, one of the highest grossing films of all time.
Yeah.
Fast forward now to 2025 with Avatar 3 coming out, and history repeated itself. It's like living in Battlestar Galactica. This has all happened before. It will all happen again. This one's going to flop. Nobody cares about. How many times did we see comments in our live chat, Jonathan?
Oh, yeah.
People saying, nobody cares about Avatar. Nobody cares. It's going to flop. No one's going to go see it. Well, it's according to this report in Variety now. After just 18 days in theaters, Avatar Fire and Ass has now joined the $1 billion club.
It sounds like you said fire and ass.
Fire and Ass. That's the adult spoof version. Avatar Fire and Ass.
Yeah.
No.
Or the extra spicy wings at
The
Buffalo
extra
Wild
spicy
Wings.
wing. That's right. If I owned a wing place right now, that's what I call my
There you
hottest
go.
sauce. Fire and Ass. So Avatar Fire and Ash crosses the $1 billion mark after just 18 days in theaters. To put a finer point on how big of a deal that is, 2025 has only had 3 new members join the $1 billion club. Out of all the hundreds of films that came out, only 3 new members of the $1 billion club. Zootopia 2 right now is sitting at about 1.6 billion and counting. Lilo and Stitch got just over the finish line at 1.03 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And now Avatar Fire and Ash in 18 days has hit $1.08 billion in 18 days. Now, do I think this movie's going to hit 2 billion? I don't. I've been saying that all year, Jonathan. People have been asking, like, you know, how much over 2 billion will Avatar 3 go? And I'd say, well, it's not. I think, you know, the number of factors taken into consideration. I see the ceiling, the target number for Avatar Fire and Ash maybe being 1.4, 1.5. And then those people saying, no, it's going to flop. It's going to make like $500 million. I'd say, no, it's going to go over $1 billion.
Yeah.
It's going to come in between $1 and $2 billion, somewhere right around the middle there. Now, whether it actually gets to 1.4 or 1.5, I'm not sure. It has been 18 days already, but it is showing extraordinary legs. But now this is the 3rd Avatar film for James Cameron. All 3 have now joined the $1 billion club. 2 of them are in the $2 billion club. And, you know, when I saw these numbers, it just made me like wonder, what is it about the Avatar films that have consistently drawn audiences to keep coming, to the point that all 3 of them are in the $1 billion club, 2 of them in the $2 billion club. I don't think it's tremendous over creativity with originality in their story. I mean, as James Cameron himself has said, Avatar, the first one, is basically Dances with Wolves in space. James Cameron himself has kind of said, yeah, it's basically kind of Dances with Wolves in space.
Uh-huh.
So that's true. We've had great visual effects, but there's just something about these Avatar films that have captured to me a sense of adventure that a lot of modern cinema just doesn't capture well. And don't confuse action for adventure.
No.
Transformers movies can be loaded with action, and they are.
Yeah,
but
it's
a lot
numbingly.
Of a lot of it is just visual noise.
Yeah.
James Cameron found a way to make Avatar truly one of the great adventures. And he managed to create characters along the way, like the basic fundamentals of filmmaking. He gave us characters that we got attached to, that we started to root for and to cheer for.
Mm-hmm.
He gave us villains that are interesting, especially with Quaritch, who I honestly think after seeing the third Avatar film, which is not my favorite. Actually, my third Avatar was my least favorite of the three. I still liked it, but it's my least favorite of the three.
Yeah.
But Quaritch has become like the low-key MVP of the series for me. He actually has the most interesting character arc and character journey.
Well,
out of almost any of them in the movie.
The arc is just that, because at any moment you're like, is this the moment he's going to turn? Is he about to turn? And, time after time, we're like, okay.
No,
but we still
goes,
think like, man.
And then he pulls it back a bit. And he goes. So, like, the best villains are the ones that we can feel some empathy for. The best villains are the ones that we go sometimes, well, they got a point, which is why, like, so many people, like, that was the big saying, the big meme. Thanos was right. Like, was the big thing for a long time, right? It's these types of villains like that are key. They give us a wondrous sense of mythology. They give us truly alien worlds. You mix all that in with absolutely jaw-dropping, stunning visual effects again and again and again and again. And, like, look, again, like that one scene in Avatar Fire and Ash when, like, the floating store, like what do you call them? The traders and everything.
Right.
And they're floating hot air balloons. That whole action sequence was stunning.
But even that, what they're floating is organic, and you get concerned about the animals that are like being attacked, and so
CG, not real animals, by the way.
You're like, oh man. So at every turn, your heart is kind of being pulled there in different directions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And another thing about it is, well, really look, Avatar and the writing and the production of it, and I don't even mean technologically, the way he weaves his stories should be studied if people really want to take cinema like seriously, because everything you just mentioned is true, but the fact that it translates across many nations around the world and also age groups. Because I told you I went there at 9 a.m. on this weekend so that I could see the X-Men Avengers trailer, which was awesome. But I looked around at the audience, and it was IMAX. It was like maybe a third full, but it was only at 9 a.m. and it's like whatever. But the different span of generations in there was still telling. And I mean, there were people going in there. It reminded me of Top Gun Maverick. It was people that don't usually go to movies. You can tell when people come into a theater, it's probably the only movie they've seen in like a year or two or more.
I heard from a lot of people. Like, I was even playing poker this past week with a bunch of guys I didn't know, and like the Avatar kind of came up and said, we went to go see Avatar. I haven't been in the movie theater in about a year and a half, but we went to go see Avatar.
You can tell those audiences, and they were there.
And one of the other key things too is that it's not just about Group A versus Group B. Mm-hmm. James Cameron does a good job setting up. It's about philosophy and values versus another set of philosophies and values, and how those different ideas of philosophy and values come into conflict. And he just plays it up well. And it's just the result, again, as we look at this graphic again, remember, we had a year where we had like 9 films join the $1 Billion Club once. That's not the world we live in anymore. We only had 3. Minecraft got close, by the way. Minecraft almost became the 4th one, but we only had 3 this year, and Avatar becomes that. How big it goes, I'm not really sure. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? In 18 days in theaters, Avatar Fire and Ash has become the 3rd Avatar film to join the $1 Billion Club. Only the 3rd film of 2025 to do so. How much higher do you think it can go? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, I thought we would start off the week here on something a little spicy. So we're going to play a little round of overreaction. Last night we jumped on the YouTube channel. We asked you guys if you guys have any hot takes for us to tell you if they're overreactions or not. bunch of you guys sent some in. Jonathan picked out a few. He's got them in front of him right now.
Yes, I do.
So, Jonathan, what we got up here first?
All right. First up, is this an overreaction? We hear from Christopher Rosato. Toy Story 5 is a make it or break it for Pixar.
Ooh, yeah, listen, we've talked a lot on the show about how for a long time, for a decade, longer than a decade, Pixar was not just the best animation studio. They were the best movie-making studio, period, in the industry. I think they had like 6 or 7 years in a row where a Pixar film was the #1 critically rated film of the year. It was nuts. We don't live in that era anymore. Now, they still put out some really good stuff, but they also put out some bad stuff. Like I'm looking at Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
That movie started off so great.
And Elio was
Elio, which was to me was a big disappointment, was Elio. So it's not the 100% lock, take it to the bank, guaranteed huge success every time a new Pixar movie comes out like it used to be. But is Toy Story 5 make or break? Nah, that's a big overreaction. Like, guys, it wasn't that long ago that we had Inside Out 2, that at the time became the highest grossing animated film of all time, not including Lion King. But it was a massive success, huge crowd pleaser, absolutely phenomenal movie. The up and down, yes. Could we get to a point where Pixar is going to face a make it or break it moment? Maybe. But it's going to take a 1 or 2 more years of less than ideal successes. Let's call it failures. They need a lot more than that. You can't have 20 plus huge wins and less than a handful of losses and say that the next film is make or break. As big as Toy Story 5 is, like, yeah, listen, it doesn't do Pixar any favors if Toy Story 5 comes out and we don't like it and it makes like $400 million. Doesn't need to make $1 billion, but like makes $300 million, $400 million. Yeah, that's a kick in the balls. 100% that's a kick in the balls for Pixar. But is it a break moment for Pixar? Nah, they still have too much going for them. I think we're still a ways off from Pixar potentially hitting a make or break moment. So I'm going to call this one an overreaction.
All right.
All right. What do we got next?
All right. Next up, we got official SCW says Sinners is one of the greatest horror films of the 21st century.
You know what?
So far, I mean, we're only 5th into the century.
Well, I mean, it's about semantics.
Well, a quarter into the century now.
Because I've had arguments with people. There are people who will try to argue that Sinners isn't a horror movie. And I would very easily contend, yes, it is. It is more than just a horror movie, but it's a horror movie. Not in the sense that, you know, Freddy or Jason or Michael are horror movies,
right.
but it's a horror movie nonetheless. But when you're talking about the great horror films, I have to admit, this is weird, because while I will argue that, yes, Sinners is a horror movie, if I jump into a conversation about the greatest horror movies, am I even considering Sinners in that category? And I don't know that I am.
It's a crossover film.
It is absolutely a crossover film.
It crosses different genres. You've got an actual drama there. You've got action adventure, and then you've got horror. There's some jump scares, but like, does it fill me with dread? Like, you know, something like a oh my gosh, why like Conjuring kind of thing? No, it's different, right?
Yeah, I mean, when we think of horror films, we often think of the exclusive purpose of every scene is just to scare you. And there's a lot of that in Sinners, but Sinners is much more than that. So yeah. I'm going to do what I've never done on Overreaction. I'm going to give 2 different answers. If we include Sinners as a horror film in that discussion, then I would say it's not an overreaction to say it's one of the greatest horror films of the 21st century. I mean, it's about to maybe win Best Picture at the Academy Awards. But at the same time, I'm hesitant to include it in the conversation.
You know, someone said it has vampires. So yes, I'm like, well, I mean,
So did What We Do in the Shadows. That's not a horror.
Yeah, Interview with a Vampire I don't really consider that a horror.
That's not really a horror either, is it?
And Twilight, I don't consider that a horror. And that all three of those have vampires, other franchises.
So it really depends on how you define certain things. So again, I have never on Overreaction ever failed to just give a clear overreaction or not an overreaction. But I'm going to have to take a push on this one because it all depends on the semantics.
All right.
All right. What's next?
All right. Next up, we got Ben Weber, who says The Mandalorian and Grogu will do worse in cinema than Solo in terms of box office.
Ooh, okay, look, I'm on record that I don't believe that Mandalorian and Grogu is going to do all that well. All right? I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I don't believe Mandalorian and Grogu is actually going to do all that well. It is, after all, just a glorified fourth season of a television show. A truncated, shortened fourth season of a television show. A television show that ended on a real low note. Because, like, I'm a big fan of Mandalorian. I am. But Mandalorian season 3 was not good. Had some good things about it. It had its moments. But overall, Mandalorian season 3 was not good. So it's really just a TV show that unless you have Disney Plus, you never saw. And it's coming off easily their weakest season.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's going to do all that well. Solo, a Star Wars story, made almost $400 million. Do I think Mandalorian and Grogu can make over $400 million? It can. It absolutely can, because I believe in John Favreau. But I don't think it's an overreaction to maybe suggest that it won't. So I'm going to say, surprisingly so, no. I don't think you're overreacting when you say that Mandalorian and Grogu won't make as much as Solo, a Star Wars story. Because ultimately what you're saying is, or the question you're asking is, does Mandalorian and Grogu make over or under 400 million?
Mm-hmm.
And while I think it can make over 400, I don't think it's out of bounds to suggest that maybe it won't.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it's not an overreaction.
Mm-hmm. All right. Moving on. We hear from Shrey Gulati, who says Timothée Chalamet is a better actor than Leonardo DiCaprio.
Them's are fighting words. But you know what? I'm going to say it's not an overreaction. Listen, for 5-6 years now, I have been banging on the drum that Timothée Chalamet, ever since Call Me By Your Name, and I keep freezing on the one he did with Steve Carell, Dear Boy or something like that, Sweet Boy, whatever, the one he did with Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Ever since those movies, I have been banging on the drum that Timothée Chalamet is the next guy up. He's it. He's the next one. He's not there yet, I would say.
Beautiful Boy.
Beautiful Boy, thank you. He's not there yet, I would say, for years and years and years. But he's the one guy in the business who has the potential to be the next Daniel Day-Lewis. Not that he is right now, but he's only getting better and better and better and better and better and better. And guys, I'm sorry. I know this is going to rub some people the wrong way, but we're not in the potential phase anymore. In just the last couple of years, he did Dune and Dune 2 and A Complete Unknown and was remarkable in Wonka. And now he's got this Marty Supreme performance. Guys, listen. We're past potential now. He's the guy. He's the best actor in Hollywood right now. And that is casting no shade at Leonardo DiCaprio, nor am I saying that Timothée Chalamet has had the career that Leonardo DiCaprio's had yet. But, you know, are you talking is SGA, you know, the greatest basketball player of all time? No, nowhere near it. But can you make an argument he's the best player right now? Yeah. I mean, LeBron James, easily 50 times the career that SGA has. But right now, who do you take on your team with one pick? SGA, or do you take LeBron right now? Well, right now, you take SGA. And that's the comparison right now. And I'm sorry, guys. I know if you're a film fan, you're supposed to say Leonardo DiCaprio. Well, listen, I have all the love in the world for Leonardo DiCaprio. He is truly one of the best in the world. He's amazing, and he could very well win Best Actor at the Academy Awards this year. And I would cheer for him if he did. But I'm sorry, guys. The days of potential are now over. It's now manifested. It's now real.
And he's no longer a kid. He's 30.
Yeah. Timothée Chalamet is the best actor in the world right now. You may not like all of his movies. You may not like the way he looks. You may not like the way he dresses. You may not like who he dates. You may not all that noise. Fine, feel that way. But he's the best right now. He is. The day of potential is over. The day of actualizing it is now. And that doesn't take anything away from Leo. That doesn't take anything away from any of the great actors we have out there right now. Ralph Fiennes, everybody else. Doesn't take anything away from any of them. But yeah, this is the year that the line is now, the baton's been passed. Timothée Chalamet is now the best actor in the business right now. So I'm going to say that's not an overreaction.
All right.
All right, what's next?
Next up, we hear from Kevin Walker, who says Super Mario Galaxy will make more than Toy Story 5. Man, everyone taking shots at Toy Story today.
Listen, if you were asking me, if you were saying that Super Mario Brothers was going to be a better movie than Toy Story 5, I would call that a massive overreaction. But that's not what you asked. Your hot take is Super Mario's will make more than Toy Story 5. And I'm going to say that's not an overreaction. It's not. Now, again, Toy Story 5 very well could end up being, I don't think it's a lock. But, listen, right now, Super Mario's got the momentum. It's been a while since we've had the last Toy Story. Some people question whether we should even be having another Toy Story. I don't, but there's a lot of people out there who do. Pixar, the last number of years, even though they had the amazing movie that too many people have slept on called Elemental. If you haven't watched Pixar's Elemental, it's fabulous. One of their best, I think. Then, of course, they had Inside Out 2, but they also had, how do you pronounce it? Elio? Yeah.
Elio, yeah.
They also had Elio. They also had Buzz.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of hit and miss right now, so Pixar's not exactly firing on all cylinders. So, yeah, you know what? I don't think it's an overreaction to think that maybe Super Mario, I still think Toy Story will be the better film, but that Super Mario might end up making more money. I'm going to say that's not an overreaction.
Yeah. That's going to be an interesting one to track.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Next up, we hear from we hear from Quinn, who says, if 2026 movie box office gross surpasses pre-COVID numbers, the theatrical movie industry is saved.
If, as is being predicted right now by most of the industry outlets, that 2026 will become the biggest box office year since 2019, which is at the end of which we got in 2020 when the pandemic hit. If that happens, that is great for the movie theater industry. Mm-hmm. It's great. But does that by itself save the movie industry? I'm going to say that's an overreaction. And let me be clear here. I think it goes both ways. I think if the movie industry, if 2026 is not the highest grossing since the pandemic, like say it comes in just behind 2025, because 2025 ended up making Disney alone made over $6 billion this year.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
So I don't think that kills the industry.
8.87 domestically.
8.8, dear heavens. So if it doesn't, I don't think that's the end. But if it does become the highest grossing since the pandemic, I don't think that automatically means a save. I think what you need to see is a couple of wins strung together. So like if 2026 becomes the highest grossing movie since the highest grossing year since the pandemic, and then 2027 follows up on and continues that momentum, then I think we can start having the discussions about if the movie industry now is saved and everything's
sustainability.
Fine. Yeah. We got to see sustained success.
Right.
We can't just see one great year. We got to see 2 or 3 strung together. So just like I say, if it doesn't hit that mark, I don't think that means it's over. But if it does hit that mark, I don't think that means it's saved either. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say that is an overreaction. All right, guys. And that will wrap up today's session of Overreaction. Thank you to everybody who sent in those questions. Appreciate it. And keep your guys' eyes open for the next time we put out a call for your hot takes and we do our next round of Overreaction. All right, guys, listen. We still got a couple of other things to talk about. That includes Simu Liu has now become the first officially confirmed cast member for Avengers Secret Wars, and he's talking about a sequel to Shang-Chi. We're going to talk about that. And you might have seen reports going around. There's some hot words going around that on January 7th, we might be getting a secret 9th episode of Stranger Things Season 5. Where does it come from? Why are people thinking that? Do we believe it's true? We're going to talk about that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second here and thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at PrizePicks. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, PrizePicks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the very first time, trying something new can be tough. But on PrizePicks, it just feels great when your sports takes are right. With big playoff matchups happening every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never really stops, and PrizePicks lets you take control. Ann and I both tried out PrizePicks a while ago, and we were honestly surprised by how simple it was to get started. I put my first lineup together in just minutes, and it genuinely made watching the games with my friends more fun because we were following our player projections all night, cheering for more or less. And there's a couple of features I really love. PrizePicks now has early payouts, so if your player gets off to a hot start, you can have the option to cash out before the game even finishes. And the new social feeds feature lets you share your PrizePicks with friends or even copy winning lineups with one click. Plus, if you like flexibility, you can choose Flex Play, or if you want the biggest potential prizes, go with Power Play. So download the PrizePicks app today and use the code Campea to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Campea to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. And thank you to our friends at PrizePicks for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, one of my absolute favorite things the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done since Endgame, because it's been hit and miss, but probably my favorite, if not right up there near the top, was Shang-Chi. I loved that movie. I love that. I've watched that movie so many times. To this day, I've got a Sonos audio system. Whenever I have people come over, the first thing I do is put on the bus fight with DJ Snake's Run It, playing the boom, 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 right? And I put that on and I turn up the audio to kind of give an example of the audio. But I can watch that bus fight sequence all day. I love that movie. And good Canadian kid, Simu Liu, playing the role. Great job. Of course, came out of Kim's Convenience and stuff like that. Love him. But like a lot of people, we've been asking the question, where the hell is Shang-Chi 2? The director, Destin, he's now directing the upcoming Spider-Man Brand New Day, but he still says he's committed to doing Shang-Chi 2. But again, it's been 5 years.
Yeah.
So where is it? Well, on the carpet at an event, Simu Liu was specifically asked about it, and he went beyond just talking about Shang-Chi's sequel, but he also maybe inadvertently confirmed himself that he is indeed going to be in Avengers Secret Wars, which would make him the first officially confirmed. I mean, there have been reports in outlets, but outlets don't confirm.
Yeah.
The studio, the actors, the actual people involved, they're the ones who can actually give real confirmation, not just reports. And he would be the first guy to be officially confirmed for Avengers Secret Wars. This comes to us from IGN, who write, years after Shang-Chi, Marvel star Simu Liu still insists a sequel will happen and confirms his post-Doomsday return in Avengers Secret Wars. He says this, there's not a whole lot to tease right now other than I think I sound like a broken record at this point, but it is happening, Liu said of Shang-Chi 2. But I think the more immediate tease is, of course, is Doomsday, which I was lucky enough to be a part of and will be lucky enough to be a part of a successor in Secret Wars. All right. In one paragraph, there's a lot to dissect. Okay, first of all, look. Despite the fact, I'm going to bring up the number here, despite the fact of how great I think Shang-Chi was, because again, I think it, if not the best thing the MCU has done since Endgame, it's one of the best things the MCU has done since Endgame. It's fun. The characters are great. Fantastic villain, great action, all that kind of stuff. But I can't deny that it is also one of the lower grossing films that they've ever done. Now, granted, it was still kind of came out in the shadow of the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. It came out later in 2021. But the reality is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings only made $432 million. Yeah. Now, that's a lot for most movies, but by MCU standards, that's pretty low, man. That's pretty low.
Yeah.
And so, as a fan of Shang-Chi, even I have kind of had to acknowledge that, there's a chance they don't do another one. I mean, as good as it was and as great as this character is, there's a chance they don't do it. But Simu Liu and Destin Daniel Craig, they kept saying, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Now, Marvel kind of bolstered that with the latest animated thing they put out, Marvel Zombies.
Right.
With Simu Liu, Shang-Chi is one of the main characters in it, and Simu Liu came back to do the voice, so it kind of shows they're still in the Shang-Chi business. We've got Shang-Chi coming up in Doomsday. So, and now we've got Simu saying, guys, listen, I know it's taking a long time, but it is happening. We are doing Shang-Chi 2, so I can continue to just rest my hopes on that. Although we should have had the sequel already, I'll just be happy about that. But what then is really interesting is him coming out and confirming that he's going to be in Secret Wars. Now, some people will say, as I've seen people fire in the laugh, wait a minute, I thought Sadie Sink was confirmed. No. Deadline's reporting that Sadie Sink is going to be in it. And they're very reliable, but still, they're just an outlet reporting it. Until the studio, until Sadie Sink's manager, until Sadie Sink's agent, until Sadie Sink, until one of the Russo brothers, until one of the people actually involved with the film comes out and verifies that information, it is not confirmed. Only the people involved can be the ones to confirm it. And as of right now, no actor has been confirmed for Secret Wars until now. As Simu Liu, maybe he wasn't supposed to, straight up says, I am going to be in Secret Wars. Now, are any of us surprised? I don't think so. Do any of us think there's any chance Robert Downey Jr. is not in Avengers Secret Wars? Obviously not.
Yeah.
Is there any of us that believe that Chris Evans isn't in Secret Wars? Obviously not.
Not at this point. No.
I mean, of course, we all know they're going to have a huge cast, almost, but this is the first guy to actually be confirmed. Now, does that mean that Shang-Chi survives, as is suggested in the article? That Shang-Chi, the article is going to say, well, that kind of gives us a hint that Shang-Chi survives the events of Doomsday. All I'll say is not necessarily. Doesn't necessarily mean Shang-Chi survives the events of Doomsday, but he is, of course, going to pop up in Secret Wars, which again, for me, is great. I think he's fantastic in this role. I love the character. I think they've needed to lean more into Shang-Chi, quite frankly, than they have over the past couple of years, but at least they have not given up on him and that he is going to be back. So guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Simu Liu, number one, confirmed again, we are doing Shang-Chi 2. It's just taking a while. We got to get Doomsday. We got to get Secret Wars out of the way. And number two, he's the first actor to officially confirm publicly that he is, in fact, in Secret Wars. So we know Shang-Chi is going to be there. Now he's got to make room for about 75 other characters coming along as well. Whatever you guys think about all this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? This is one of those situations where I was not going to make this the main story.
Yeah.
But for those of you who don't know, every morning as we're putting the final notes together and just the order of the show, I jump on the YouTube channel and I put up a poll. I say, hey guys, out of these 4 topics, which one do you think should be our main headline today that you think most people will be interested in? And I included this story on the list, not at all expecting that anybody would vote for it, but it was by far the number 1 voted thing. We had over 1,000 votes came in within 10 minutes. And this was by far the number 1 thing. And it is this story here. There's a story going around. And this one, by the way, guys, I'm going to let you know in advance. Let us firmly file this one under the rumor mill.
I love rumors.
This one, clearly we need to file this one under the rumor mill, but you guys voted for it as our lead story, so let's talk about it here. Some of you may have seen around online that we are going to have a secret 9th episode of Stranger Things. Season 5. Of course, it ended with episode 8. That was the big finale. Mike walks upstairs after playing some Dungeons and Dragons, closes the door, and that's the end of the series, right? But going back to this headline here, we've been seeing, and you've probably seen it all over online, that there is this massive theory going around that on January 7th, on Wednesday, 2 days hence from now, that Netflix is going to drop a secret episode 9. And it's been picking up steam.
I love rumors.
It's been picking up steam. So let's go into this article here. It's something being called Conformity Gate. And here's the theory. According to Conformity Gate believers, the epilogue shown at the end of Stranger Things was actually an elaborate mental manipulation orchestrated by Vecna. This claim persists despite the villain being impaled and then beheaded by Joyce wielding an axe during the finale. Supporters of the theory have compiled supposed evidence from the season itself, pointing to details like every character's having their hands going the same direction and all that kind of stuff. The name Conformity Gate stems from the unusually normal feeling of the epilogue. Everything felt slightly off to the viewers and things like this. Now, then came this January 7th thing. The theory gained momentum after Netflix posted a cryptic message on social media featuring the hashtag January 7th as a date. When users search that specific hashtag on Netflix or type in Season 5, Episode 9, the platform surfaces Stranger Things content as a result. All right. Here's the thing. Do I believe there is going to be a secret Stranger Things Episode 9 on Wednesday? I do not. I don't. One of the big reasons that I don't is because there was a real sense of finality to it. I mean, I suppose you could do something with 11 in a secret episode 9. You could do something with L. But one of the other main things is this. Netflix has dropped a trailer for a Stranger Things documentary that's going to come out on January 12th. And by the way, this looks great. They dropped a trailer for it. Go find it online. It looks fantastic. It looks like it's really going to pull on the old heartstrings. The name of it, I think, let me find the name of it here. The name of the documentary is One Last Adventure, The Making of Stranger Things Season 5. Mm-hmm. One Last Adventure. Now, in the trailer for One Last Adventure, you see the Duffer Brothers at a what do you call when all the cast gets together for a read through, whatever the script read through. You see one of the Duffer Brothers reading that last page of the script. Mike exits through the door at the top of the stairs and closes the door. And then the script says, end series. End series, he says in the trailer. Not end episode, not end scene, not end season. At the script read through, he reads that scene. Mike climbs the stairs, exits through the door, closes door. End series. By the way, the phrase I was looking for was table read. Thank you to everybody in the live chat who threw that in. Table read. Table read. And he says end series. That's it. It's over. Now, having laid the groundwork that I do not believe we are getting an episode 9 on Wednesday. I do not believe a secret bonus episode exists. I will say this. It's not the craziest thing. Because of two major factors. One, it's Stranger Things. Right? Like the whole nature of the show lends itself that you could do something pretty wonky and pretty wacky with it if you wanted to. The second reason I'll say it's not the most ridiculous theory is look what they did with the theatrical release. Like they did something with Stranger Things they never did, not just by putting it in theaters, but they put it in theaters for free. You didn't even have to buy a ticket. You had to buy a concession stand voucher, but then you got to get concessions with that. Mm-hmm. They put it out in theaters for free, something that they had never done before. So is it actually, for a series like Stranger Things, that is the absolute probably calling card show of all of Netflix, that has been around for about a decade and is about the weird and the wonky, and given the fact that they have done things completely out of the ordinary for them, like putting the finale in theaters over New Year's, not charging any price for tickets, and when we talked about why they did that last week, is it the craziest thing? And especially with how we know the story of Elle ends, is it the most ludicrous thing that they could slip in a secret 9th episode? It's not the craziest thing. I don't believe it. I don't think they're going to do it at all.
No.
But if Wednesday night comes around and I pop open Netflix and I see at the top of the carousel Stranger Things Season 5, Episode 9 bonus episode, am I going to be like completely shocked? Probably not. Probably not completely shocked. Again, I would bet $5 that it's not true. It's not going to happen. Again, the end of that trailer saying end series, I think that's definitive. But we have seen crazier things before. Guys, we live in a world where Jamie Foxx came back to play Electro, which was considered by all, especially me, to be an absolute impossibility.
But they didn't bring back Paul Giamatti.
But they did bring back Rhino, damn it.
Yeah. No, and another thing I would say is like, well, they haven't even, advertised this. But then again, it's Netflix and they don't advertise really. So.
Yeah, they don't advertise, although, they're advertising their list. By the way, side note, I'm really excited to watch this little documentary.
Me too.
Because even though I'm not the biggest Stranger Things fan in the world, just the trailer for that pulled on my heartstrings a little. We literally watched these kids, these children, grow up in front of our eyes. We grew up with them. I mean, and so I felt really kind of emotional about it. I'm really looking forward to watching this. But I believe this on January 12th is the actual last thing we're going to see from Stranger Things.
Probably. And, just to run off of what you just said, it was 5 seasons, but it took almost a decade.
Yeah.
And in many ways, like, I think I started with like AMC. That it was like when that thing first had come out. And
we were at AMC.
And I've gone, I've grown so much and everyone, but not just that. I went to the theater. I went to AMC to see the finale. And I got to say,
how was the audience?
That's what I want to get to. It was actually really special. And after the movie, I got to say, there was a buzz and an excitement in the hallways of AMC that I haven't experienced in a movie theater. Now, I'm actually kind of getting emotional about it, like in a long time. Like, you had people in their 40s and 50s, all the way down to tweens, who were equal enthusiasm, if you know that movie, who were equally enthusiastic about this film and the experience, right? The experiential event of it. And people were just hanging out in the hallways afterwards, talking. I can't remember for decades where people were coming out. Maybe it was during like Barbenheimer or whatever,
yeah,
where people were actually still congregating in the hallways outside of their theaters, all chattering, all talking, all joking around. Everyone was happy. And it was for a Stranger Things finale. And there was something really special about the buzz and the excitement in that theater, but also the fact that this was multi-generational. It was really special. I just sat there and I leaned against the Avatar IMAX poster thing stand up, and I just watched, and not creepily, but I just people watched. And I watched as people were saying, "Oh, look at this movie. Oh, we should come back and see this. Hey, look at that." And like generations doing this.
Yeah.
It was really special. It
yeah,
was
you
really
know,
special.
when we talked about this last week too, right? Like not everybody loved the finale for Stranger Things, but everybody I talked to or have heard from that went to go see it in theaters loved it. It's just a great example too. I've said this before, I'll say it again, about why watching movies the way they were meant to be watched in a movie theater with a crowd, with an audience, it just makes it better. It will always be better. It will always be better. That is the best way to watch movies. And the fact that they had that communal event where Stranger Things fans got together with perfect strangers, other Stranger Things fans, and experienced that together, I believe heightened the experience for everybody. And I kind of wish I went to go, even though I'm not the biggest Stranger Things fan, I kind of wish I went to go see it for that.
My experience with the audience and what it meant to everybody surpassed like even my feelings of Stranger Things, which I kind of like got weaned off of as it went, but I still appreciated it. But yeah.
So let me just ask, just straight up, just quickly. Do you think there's going to be a secret 9th episode?
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
I also feel like that kind of cheats the audience and it takes us out of like, oh, everything you just saw was just a dream.
Well, okay, let me say this. I 100% do not believe the fan theory that the last half of episode 8 was just a Vecna-induced dream.
You know what?
I don't believe that at all.
I feel like it's just a bunch of copium because people weren't happy with it, and they're like, "But this explains why it was like this."
That's nonsense. Yeah. I believe you got to be smoking the good stuff to.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, at the end of Game of Thrones season 8, that actually was just a dream sequence that didn't happen. Because if you look at it, there was this prophecy that said that was going to happen, but only in the hearts of.
But I'll say this. But that doesn't take away from the fact that as improbable,
it was a D&D game.
There is a chance, however unlikely, where's that quote from? That as improbable as it is, again, I wouldn't say there's a 0% chance of Netflix pulling something and draw. Again, I don't think they will. I don't believe it, anything like that. But again, I'd bet $100 that there's not going to be an episode 9. But I wouldn't bet $1 million. Let's just say that. I wouldn't bet $1 million, but I don't believe for a second that if there was an episode 9, it has anything to do with the last part of episode 8 being a dream caused by Vecna. If anything, my guess would be it would be about Elle. What happens after Elle actually disappeared? Not from the story Mike was telling, but like what actually happened. If they were going to do something, I think that's what it would be. But again, I don't really think they're doing that. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Big theory going around, some cryptic messages from Netflix. Is there a secret Stranger Things episode 9 coming on Wednesday, January the 7th? I don't believe there is. But you know what? Stranger things have happened. I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to the most important part of our show here, shall we? Which is, of course, taking your comments and questions. You guys have been firing in questions there. Jonathan, what do we got up first?
First up, Raymond Verada says, Avatar 3 makes $1 billion, but 70% of that comes from overseas market. One of them is China. I thought you didn't trust figures from China.
Oh, guys, how many times do I have to explain this? I have always been very, very, very crystal clear about this, and I've explained it a few times already, but let me say it again. I do not trust, and never have, Chinese box office reporting of Chinese-made movies, because that's a clear conflict of interest. And China is the only country, to the best of my research, is the only country in the world that does not submit its data for third-party independent vetting. Nobody confirms their numbers. Every other country does, but China doesn't. And so I do not trust or believe Chinese box office reporting about Chinese produced movies. I just don't. And you can feel free to believe that if you want. Good on you, but I don't believe it. That's just me. So, but there is no conflict of interest, and there is when it comes to reporting other countries' movies totals. There's no reason to believe that they would have no agenda for over-reporting money made by a foreign film in their markets. I only call into question, I've been crystal clear about this, of China reporting of Chinese box office of Chinese produced movies when they have no third-party verification or being vetted. And as long as they do that, I will never trust their numbers about their own movies. I just won't. So anyway, that's just me. But I've been very clear about that. Like them reporting on any other country's movies, I have no reason to doubt it. But for their own movies, well, that's clearly a conflict of interest. All right, what's next?
We got Christopher Brickner, or the sequel, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, comes out this year, but Tarantino only wrote it with Fincher now directing it. I'm curious how it turns out. You and me both. I'm excited for it.
You know what? I think the word Christopher uses, the one I'm going to use, is I'm curious. I'm not going to pretend like I'm excited for it because, quite frankly, I don't think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was one of Tarantino's better films. I don't think it was bad. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it was bad. But I don't think it's one of his better films. And I do love Brad Pitt in it. Obviously, he won the Academy Award for it. But it's not one of my favorite ones. And I can't say I'm excited for it, but I am curious. All right, what's next?
All right, Christopher follows up and says, pardon me, I like how Tarantino would only allow Pitt to use his Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel script if he approved the director. Unsurprisingly, David Fincher is a Tarantino-approved director. I mean, I'm so excited the fact that it's that duo.
I mean, yeah, look, there's a lot of things going for this. And I'm not predicting it's going to be bad, not at all. I'm just being honest. Like, because the original film is not exactly one of my favorites, it's hard for me to be really jazzed about the sequel miniseries or whatever it is it's going to be.
It's still a fun movie, though. I mean, it's still enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, I still thought it was okay.
It's not Pulp Fiction. It's not Inglourious Bastards, but...
I just, like, the flamethrower stuff was insane. It was so good. But then there's this whole 20 minutes of the movie where it's like, why are we watching Margot Robbie go into a movie theater and watch a movie? What does this have to do with anything, and why are we spending so much time on it? My
feeling on that was that we needed to have some type of emotional connection to her, because we know the sad truth of what happened, and so it builds tension of us thinking, is she going to have the same
tension?
No, but I think that was the no. But I believe that was the purpose. That was the intent.
Yeah, maybe that was the purpose. You know, we all know what the real purpose was. Tarantino wanted an excuse to have her feet on screen. I'm sorry. That's why Tarantino did it.
He got it.
Anyway, all right. What's next?
All right. We got Screen Speak. John, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that Project Hail Mary is not a disappointment like Mickey 17 was last year.
Yeah, because I remember I was really excited for Mickey 17. You know, Bong Joon-ho directing it, Robert Pattinson. It was a great cast by Mark Ruffalo. I mean, it's a great cast. The premise is so cool. The trailers looked amazing. Doesn't always work out. And I didn't think the movie was very good. Again, I didn't think it was bad. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Mickey 17 was bad, but it was so far below what it could have been. And I think you're right. I think comparing that to the anticipation we have for Project Hail Mary is an astute one. I because there really is that potential too. This is a tricky one to translate to the screen.
Yeah.
I am very curious how they're going to do it. Now, if they do it, it's going to be amazing, but it can go wrong many different ways. And look, I trust Lord and Miller, but I trust Bong Joon-ho too. So we'll see what happens. All right, what's next?
We got Raul says, what is your favorite cameo in a film? Or you can just vote on my top 3, which would be Bruce Willis in Ocean's 12, Bernie Mac in Transformers, and Mike Tyson in The Hangover.
Those are all good.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time thinking of them off the top of my head.
I'll give a couple.
Sure.
And not that I necessarily just love these movies, but I liked Bill Murray in Zombieland.
That was a good one. Yeah.
And because it kind of showed a different side of his career at the time, I liked Neil Patrick Harris in Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Yep. That kind of, I'm not going to say it was the first one, but that kind of heralded in this trend we saw of celebrities playing kind of dick versions of themselves in things. It was Neil Patrick Harris doing that in Harold and Kumar that kind of kicked off that bit of a trend.
Yeah.
Like even like Keanu Reeves then doing it
right.
in Always Be My Maybe. By the way, if you haven't seen Always Be My Maybe with Randall Park, see it. It's amazing. I love that movie. And, Keanu Reeves plays himself, but a dick version of himself. That kind of started that whole thing. Some people are saying like Les Grossman, that wasn't a cameo.
I'll tell you.
Like Tom Cruise was a supporting actor in that movie. That wasn't just a cameo. So you can't kind of count that one.
I have one that's probably fairly meaningful also. And you wouldn't think this, but for Jason Bateman, because his career after his TV and child star career, it died in the 90s, right? He wasn't getting calls. He's been very open about this. And this was actually before.
His podcast is amazing, by the way.
Really good. This was before Curb Your Enthusiasm. It may have even led to Curb Your Enthusiasm. His cameo in Dodgeball as the announcer.
Whose?
Dodgeball. Remember, he was the announcer, Bateman. Because he really hadn't done much. And then that kind of brought him back. People were like, oh, yeah. And then I think that got eyes on him. That led to the TV show that he did.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah. So I really go back and I think that's a great cameo in terms of someone's career.
Yeah. Now I'm sure if I actually sat and thought about it, I could come up with a bunch, but I don't have them right off the top of my head. So I'd have to think about it. But yeah, there are some really, really good ones. All right. What's next?
Bold strategy. All right. Noah Kahan says, the story about Deadline reminds me that media literacy has declined substantially. How do we fix this? It's people taking advantage of the media literacy that.
Yeah. Look, if you didn't know what was going on and you just saw somebody say Deadline reports that Netflix is going to do a 17-day window. Well, you wouldn't have any reason not to believe them.
Yeah, you should probably click the link to Deadline.
Maybe go check it out. Because Deadline did not report that. And again, listen, I have to believe there's a part of this. And we all many people get caught up in this. I'm sure I've accidentally misinterpreted headlines before too. It happens. I'm not sitting here admonishing just other people. It happens to all of us. So when I say I do truly mean we all. I wish we would be more careful about this, because when you actually go and look, you see, well, that isn't the headline, and it's not in the first paragraph or second or third or fourth or fifth. It's this little thing that's buried down beneath after the article already sets the context that Netflix is committed to an industry standard release window, that they point that they have, gotten behind the idea of a 17 window before. But it was clearly past tense. That wasn't what they were reporting. And yeah, we just got to be a little bit more careful about what it is we're reading and how we read it. Anyway, I think there was one before that, Jonathan.
Yes, there was. Ultimate Vision Network says, what animal would you make a horror movie about? A chimpanzee.
Okay, so here's the thing. I thought ever since CinemaCon, back in April when they showed us the first preview for it's Primate, right?
Yes.
That it looked terrible.
Dude, even the trailer, I just rewatched it. The trailer looks terrible.
I remember being in a movie theater when the trailer played and the audience laughed at it.
It's as much as like Pooh, Blood, and Honey.
And then the Rotten Tomato score came out and it was like 92%. I'm like, what? What? And so I'm shocked. I'm going to go see this movie. Now, what animal would I do? Cheetah.
A cheetah?
Cheetah.
Man, they are fast.
They are my favorite animals, but the speed, what do they say, man? Speed kills. There is no getting away from the jaws of
cheetah.
Cheetah. I would do one about a cheetah.
There you go.
What's next?
Blackberry, two-parter. It should not be hard to understand why Avatar movies take a long time to get their billion-dollar status. These are long films and take time to get as many views as shorter films. I would love to see it again, but at my age, I'm in danger of falling asleep if I go to the 7 p.m. showing. I can't believe there's 10 p.m. showings of that movie.
Okay. Here's the problem with that suggestion. Avengers Endgame is a 3+ hour movie. It made $357 million on its opening weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And it was longer or close to. It was close to. Almost identical.
That was like 16-minute difference.
16-minute difference. Because they're both over 3 hours.
Yeah.
One made $88 million opening weekend. Avengers made 357. So I don't now that might be one. I might agree with you that it's one of the contributing factors.
It's a factor. It has an effect.
Yeah, but I would put that down around maybe factor number 4, 5, 6, or 7.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, if it was a big major factor, then another movie with an over 3 hour runtime, like Avengers Endgame, should have made 150 opening weekend and then built it, but it didn't. It made 357 opening weekend. So I'm not quite sure that's that big of a factor. All right, what's next?
Amin has a two-parter. A few years ago, I sent a tip saying that I had started writing a novel. After an on and off again writing process, last week I finally finished my first full draft. Congratulations.
Nice.
It was quite an undertaking. 97,000 words and an entire world galaxy created in 4 years. Now I'm excited for the next steps.
That's
amazing, man.
Okay, even if nothing, look, and I'm not trying to be a downer or anything, but even if nothing ever happens with it, right? Even if nobody ever reads it and like you finish it and now you kind of put it away. This is something you should always be proud of. Because we live in a world where too many people want to be given things. Everybody has a goal or a dream, but it's very few people who are willing to actually do the things necessary to get there. And as somebody who has written a novel, I can attest, man, that was it took me like 5 years. A gifted, talented writer could have done it in 6 months. It took me 5 years. But what you did was you saw it through. You saw it through. And that is something most people today don't do. And I'm not just talking about with writing a novel. I'm talking about with whatever else it is.
Yeah.
It is just something people are not willing to do the work, to put in the effort, to put in the time, and see things through. And give me somebody that sees things through 10 times out of 10. So regardless of whatever else happens with it, man, doesn't matter. That is an amazing thing that says a lot about your character and I think positions you to do well in life, man. So congratulations on that. I think that's awesome. What's next?
Raul says, seeing We Bury the Dead today, heard anything good? Well,
I have. I've heard some. I talked to somebody who saw it, kind of liked it.
Okay.
But not a lot, to be honest with this. Have you, Jonathan?
I'm just looking at the tomato meter. It's 83% on the critics out of 71 reviews, so not a lot, but 83%, 47% on the popcorn meter, though.
Oh.
So audiences aren't big on it. Critics are a little bigger.
All right.
So I don't know.
All right, what's next?
It's only an hour and a half, so just take your chance. Jason Link with a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Jason, for supporting us on that level, man. By the way, somebody was already asking, I have already had turned off super chat, so we're just going to get through all the super chats that have come in. I've already turned them off, just so you know.
So we got John with you knowing what's going down in Doomsday. Does it make it even harder to give any opinion on what comes out in the marketing for it since you know what happens?
Yeah. But I just got to be careful. Like, listen, ever since what happened with the Spider-Man image, with the look on the lighting on Toby's dick, I got to make myself a t-shirt that says that. But listen, guys, people didn't stop sending me stuff. There have been a lot of movies that have come up that I've already known almost everything about them before they came out, but I just make sure I do the show in such a way that we don't reveal it. But I'm going to give you a prediction here. I already know that what I know other people are already knowing too. It's getting around. And I think I said this on the show last week. I think by June, I think the entire plot of Avengers Doomsday is going to be out there. I think everybody's going to have it, because not only do I know everything that's happening with it, I have already confirmed with 2 other people that they also got it as well. And we cross notes. And it's like, yep, this is it. So I think it's going to be out there. I think everybody's going to know it by June. Now, it ain't going to come from me. But what I've been working on, Jonathan, is I'm trying to figure out a detail that I can give to our audience. One detail about Doomsday that when they see the movie or when everything comes out, they can look back and they go, oh, that's what Campea was talking about. But it has to be a detail that is specific enough that somebody couldn't just guess it.
Yeah.
But vague enough that it doesn't give something major away about the story. And I'm working, and when I do come up with that, hopefully in the next day or two, when I come up with what that one detail is, I will share it on the channel. So again, that'll be specific enough that it's not just something that somebody guessed, but it's vague enough that it won't actually ruin anything of the movie for you.
Yeah.
When I come up with that, I will share it and go from there. But yeah, other than that, I do have to be careful. Like some people have written in and said, hey, John, this report about Doomsday just came out. Can you talk about it? And I'm like, I can't, because I can't talk about it without revealing something about the movie. So I've been kind of selective about it at the same time. But again, I think by June or July, I think the whole thing's going to be out there. I think it's disseminating fairly quickly. Anyway, all right, what's next?
We got Sam, who says, now you know more about Avengers Doomsday. Are you now able to decipher the look hard set photo the Russo brothers put out on Instagram?
Honestly, no. Even knowing the whole thing about the movie, it's all just interpretive.
Yeah.
Like we all saw different things. People saw X's and people saw this and people saw that. Honestly, I look back at that picture now and I don't see it any differently than I did before, to be 100% honest with you.
And to be fair, yes, while the information has been disseminated, you got to understand that John hasn't seen it.
I've not seen it.
Hasn't seen it performed.
Nope.
He hasn't seen what is called the final edit, of the script, which is the editing post-production. So there are changes that are made, a way something is performed. I don't suspect
major ones.
No, but just in nuances.
Yeah, there could be a few little details.
You think of Phantom Menace. Well, that read really well, and I'm not saying this is going to be a Phantom Menace situation. It just goes to say, he hasn't seen it, just like we haven't seen it. So,
All right. What's next?
Hollow Lord. Hi, John from London, UK. I was wondering where London was. I like TV and movie chat since COVID. You see a trailer, WB Zazzy B, Will Kill You, and The Night Manager, Tom Hiddleston. Seen any? I think that cut off, and that's why. I'm sorry.
Let me look at that. Made no sense to me.
Yeah, because I think it cut off.
Hi, John from London, UK. I like TV and movie chat since COVID. You see trailer. WB Zazzy B. I mean, I understand what The Night Manager is with Tom Hiddleston. I don't know what we're talking about otherwise. But yes, Tom Hiddleston coming back in The Night Manager. I never did watch The Night Manager. I heard it was really good.
Yeah.
And I love Tom Holland. I'm not quite sure why I didn't watch it. But I've heard it. Did you ever see it?
I have not. No.
I have to check that. I think I might try to get caught up on it then so I can watch season 2.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Barris Films. It's been 3 years since Brave and the Bold was announced. Love what Gunn has done, but not on one of the core 3. Hope his focus isn't in too many places.
I'm not worried about it at all. I mean, listen, it's not like they announced. It's not like Star Wars, where literally we haven't had anything in theaters in 6 years. No, we've been getting DC content.
Yeah.
We've been getting it.
As a matter of fact, he said it was 4 pillars. Was it not? So wasn't it Superman, Supergirl, Batman, and
can't remember.
Wonder Woman?
I can't remember.
I might be off on that, but
I mean, it's not like we haven't been getting content from DC. We got we've been getting content from DC, and we got Clayface coming this year. We got Lanterns coming this year. We got Supergirl coming this year. So it's not like a Star Wars situation where, well, they said they were making something and now it's taking a long time. No, he's just always been clear that they're not going to announce a date or anything like that until the script is 100% locked. So it's not like the Blade situation where when they announced Blade, they had a date. James Gunn never gave a date for the new Batman movie at all. He just said, we're developing this. That's all he said. They never gave a date. They never said when it's coming out. They never said when they're going to start shooting it. They just said, this is one of the ones we're working on. But he's been very, very clear. Until a script is 100% exactly where we want it to be, we're not announcing any dates. Now, it sounds like they're getting close, so I do expect to hear something close, and I would be worried if we weren't getting anything else, but DC keeps moving along, and we'll get it eventually. It's coming. All right, what's next?
All right, Bob Ridge, this is a really good what's more likely. Avatar 3, sitting at $306 million domestically, surpasses Zootopia 2 at $363 million domestically, or Zootopia 2 at $1.6 billion worldwide, surpasses Inside Out 2 at $1.7.
You know what? Zootopia, obviously because of how long it's been running, Zootopia has slowed down.
It's got to go about a 120, another 120 million.
Yeah, but listen, it made 19 million this weekend.
Yeah.
Now, that's not good enough to get like 120, but it's still playing in other markets too. I think it is more likely that Zootopia catches Inside Out. I don't necessarily think it will necessarily, but I think that's more likely because it's clearly got a chance. All right. Good question, man.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Okay. We got a couple more here. Ryan Trabuco says, Happy New Year, John. Zootopia 2 quietly rising up the all-time box office list and is now number 12. Do you think it has enough gas to surpass Jurassic World's 167 to break into top 10?
It can. Yeah. I mean, obviously we just finished talking about how I think it has a chance to pass Inside Out at 1.7. So if I think it has a chance to pass 1.7,
yeah,
I absolutely think it has a chance to get 167. And so again, would I put $100 on it? Not necessarily, but it definitely has the potential to do it because listen, even this weekend, it was number 2 at the box office.
Yeah.
Number 2 at the box office in its 6th week. So, well, we'll see. It's got a shot. All right, what's next?
Yeah, and I think both of those things have a chance. The domestic and the worldwide that he this is our final one. This is from Animesh, who says, wouldn't that make Jimmy C the only director to have 4 consecutive films cross $1 billion? 4 consecutive.
I think it would.
I don't know of anyone else who's done 4.
I mean, did the Russo brothers, did Civil War and did Winter Soldier cross $1 billion?
Civil War, let me look.
Yeah, if Civil War and Winter Soldier both crossed $1 billion, then that would mean the Russo brothers did it.
Civil War made 1.1 bill.
And what about Winter Soldier? That's the big question.
Boy,
I can't remember that Winter Soldier did.
Captain America Winter Soldier did, come on, 700.
Okay, so but after Doomsday,
then
they'll
join.
4.
Yeah.
By the way, you need to refresh that page because there are a couple more questions that came in.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, you just got to shut the one window, then refresh the page and reopen the window again.
Oh yeah, okay. Never mind. We got a few more here.
All right.
So we got Luis, who says, could the trailers released by Marvel so far be a misdirect to hide everything about the movie, or are they really based on what you know?
Everything we've seen in the trailers are in the movie.
Yeah. They're not doing all that for a misdirect.
And I don't really think I'm revealing anything. It's the trailers.
It's the trailer.
But I can tell you what's in the trailers is in the movie.
To distrust them that much to release 4 trailers and think they're all misdirects?
Well, I mean, listen, the Russo brothers have done misdirects before with their Marvel content.
They're just so vague, though.
I get it, but no, the stuff we've seen is in the movies.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Disney Gifts by Bryce. I was watching some older clips and was wondering, what is your favorite Ray laugh moment? Mine had to be their daughter. I was going to say
the daughter's in good hands.
Dude, that was like, we were all dying. We were all dying.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
I almost did a spit
nailed
take
it yourself. That's it.
It was yeah. Because actually the other one was Taylor. I was going to say when they went from HBO to HBO Max or whatever.
Oh,
Max.
God, that was one of my favorite moments.
That was
ever.
amazing, but that was technically a Taylor.
It's our moment of destiny. I'll never forget that one.
All
right,
we got Chazarus, I think. WWE is doing a Stranger Things crossover this week.
Really? Well, I guess that makes sense because Monday Night Raw is on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. It's kind of pathetic, but I guess that kind of adds up. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
We got Pasha who says, let's see, Simu Leo said we'd see Shang-Chi sooner than we'd think, and that never happened. I believe we see him in Wonder Man.
Oh, no, it did. It happened in Marvel Zombies.
Right.
Remember, he never said you'll see me in live action. He said you're going to see Shang-Chi sooner than you think. And then he was one of the predominant characters in Marvel Zombies. So it did happen. But no, he's not going to be in Wonder Man.
All right, now this is our true last one. Tristan, are there any movies you think would benefit from a director's cut re-release due to studio intervention, etc., and or a movie you wish you could unsee?
Studio intervention is a myth.
And
Every 99.9% of all movies, even the greatest movies of all time, have had studio intervention. Peter Jackson, I go to this one all the time. Peter Jackson talked openly about the fact that he had to change a number of things in his Lord of the Rings movies because of studio notes. Now, he also talks about how he's so grateful for them because they gave him some great notes and they changed things. But that happens, guys, movies do not belong to the directors. They belong to the people paying for the movies. That's who it belongs to. And that is why, because it's not the director who loses his money if a movie doesn't do well. The studios lose their money. Every movie, again, I won't say every, but I'll say 99.9% of movies, unless your name is Christopher Nolan or Quentin Tarantino, or one of a small handful of things. Every movie has studios giving notes and studios demanding that directors make changes. Now, some are worse than others, granted. There are, but every movie, there is no studio that's more interferous than Marvel.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige is absolutely 100% involved in every one of the movies that they make. Now, there are some more extreme examples. The one I can think of was the Fox version of Fantastic Four, directed by the guy who did... Why am I freezing on the name of the guy who directed that Fantastic Four movie?
Bringing it up. Which one are you talking about?
He did the found footage movie too.
Oh, right.
The one that had Miles Teller.
Oh, yes.
I'm forgetting the name of the director. Josh Trank. I would be very curious about that because I know for a fact that the movie that Josh Trank was aiming to make, he clearly laid it out with Fox, and then Fox literally stepped in and took the movie away from him. To the best of my understanding.
Right.
They literally stepped in and took the movie away from him, and it went in a very different direction. So I would be very curious to see what Josh Trank's because you know what? I always said this, me and Christian Harloff we thought when we watched that movie, we always believed it was going to be terrible. And then we watched the first act and like the first third of the movie. And I remember me and Harloff sitting at 20th Century Studios in their screening room. We looked at each other and we're like, this is pretty good so far. And the first act was pretty good. And then it went right to hell after that. But I mean, I'd be very, very curious at least to see what that movie would have actually looked like. But for the most part, this whole myth about, directors make all the movies and studios never interfere. And it's only guys, listen, when a movie's good, it's partially because the studio got involved. When a movie's bad, it's partially because the studio got involved. But it's true of 99.9% of movies.
And also that question is sort of loaded because it's like, let's say I have a movie. I didn't like the movie. And so now what you're saying is you're positing, well, the director has extra footage that if he had edited that footage in the way he wanted to, it would have fixed it. So I want to see the director's cut.
Yeah.
How do I know that's even...
It could have been even worse. There might have been a reason that the studio stepped in and said, so there's a lot there. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here, everybody, and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Big thanks again, of course, to our technical director, Jonathan Voico.
All right, see you guys later.
Thank you again, everybody, for being here. You make this little nobody feel kind of special when you come by, and we appreciate that you do. Hopefully, we'll see you again tomorrow. That'll do it for us for now, guys. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.